Welcome to the first video in a new series of videos that are 1. Shorter than my usual analysis videos. 2. Will probably have less extensive video editing, make it kind of podcasty, but we'll just see how that turns out in the long run. Sometimes I get a little obsessive. And 3. Most importantly, don't require a lot of additional research to make, but are instead discussion videos about general trends which I happen to have noticed while working on my other videos. Now, today's topic might require a little bit more context for you all to understand what I'm asking. Very, very early on into my foray into research on gender roles in Japan and such, I stumbled upon a blog post about the Nostalgia Critic's own ancient video about Sailor Moon. And for those of you who don't remember that video, and that's probably for the better, to be honest. Basically, within the video, the Nostalgia Critic claimed that the only reason why he, as a young boy, watched Sailor Moon is because it turned him on. Basically, because the girls in the show were, as he claimed, sexualized. Now, enter the Shojo Powers blog about a year later, and their argument was that the Nostalgia Critic was basically slut-shaming the outfits that the Sailor Senshi wore when fighting. And I'm gonna be honest here. That blog post actually made some very good points, which will only become more important for my views as time went on, and I witnessed more and more instances of similar conflicts. Now, I'm not going to say that people should not ever critique the sexualization of women or girls in children's media. There are certainly at least a few cases of actual sexualization that I think do warrant their own critique, even within the magical girl and moe genres, bearing in mind that criticism is and should not be the same as censorship. The problem, going back to general criticism as it should be, in practice, even there, let's just say that things have a tendency to get out of hand. Shows like Pretty Cure are sometimes under fire for appealing to a male audience when there is practically zero fan service whatsoever in any of the series' iterations which I've seen. You could literally have your grandmother watch it without a problem. In some cases, I don't think the critics even bothered to watch the show, which is why I usually don't draw attention to this kind of stuff. But I'm bringing it up in this video because it happens to be part of a larger trend which I think has some disturbing implications. To really drive home what I'm getting at, let's talk about bronies. Oh yes, I did just go there. AKA the adult male audience of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. The cute, sparkly friendship pony show that's, to my knowledge, literally the single most non-sexualized little girls show ever made in the history of little girls cartoons. Where I actually mean to use the correct definition of the word literally for once. So what happened when people discovered the existence of bronies? A lot of people got very, very confused. People were asking why, oh why would a grown man possibly see anything in a show that's meant for little girls? And for the first time and possibly ever, people could not even pin the blame on miniskirts or quote within a quote porn outfits end quotes. So what did they do instead? Instead of considering the fact that maybe Friendship Magic is just a good show, a stereotype emerged that bronies were pedophiles or something. Now I have a few things I'd like to say about that, and I'm only going to actually say about half of them. Like, first of all, let me start by asking you this. Why would a 20-something-year-old woman, like me, be watching Death Note, One Punch Man, Yu-Gi-Oh, or Pokemon? Nobody questions it. I haven't been called a pedophile as far as I know. If anything, I'm usually treated like the cool kid when people find this out. So why do we shame dudes for watching little girls' shows? What does it say about the value of girls' media in our society when, in the case that a dude happens to show interest, the only reason we can possibly fathom for them to have that interest is, because of sex? In short, not only is this double standard unfair to the dudes, it's also unfathomably insulting to the status of girls' media. And to be clear, even if you never complained about sexualization or fan service or whatever, you probably aren't off the hook. First of all, I'm pretty sure that most, or at least a heck ton lot of the people shaming bronies in particular were not even feminists. I mean, heck, brony material got banned in several rooms in 4chan. Hecking 4chan, of all places. Generally, the point of this whole video is this is something that every single last one of us can probably do better with. Even and especially those of us who think we know better. Even among the fans of the magical girl genre, in the research I have been doing for my next big analysis video, often people recommend magical girl shows under a language such as, it looks girly but ... or they go out of their way to say it's not actually very girly. Shows with incredibly dark themes are given special treatment as if they are unique or revolutionary. Even when dark themes are not actually that strange to see in the magical girl genre as a whole. Even Sailor Moon and Magical Princess Minky Momo got pretty dark once in a while. Sometimes people even go so far as to say that it's made exclusively for a male audience, when the only evidence that they cite for said claim is that the action scenes are well written. Excuse me? Half of Shonen Jump's readers in Japan are female. Half. This is why shonen manga and anime have such a larger audience, and therefore a larger budget, compared to shoujo manga written for and often by women. This whole thing is a double standard that causes real, direct harm to women in the cartoon and manga industry. So, in conclusion, should we turn a completely blind eye to any and all forms of the sketchier sexual elements in certain shows? Not necessarily. There are certainly some shows out there that deserve some serious critique on this front. But most of the time, I think generally we can afford to be a lot less paranoid. And most importantly, give the benefit of the doubt. We certainly also ought to be aware of the fire we are playing with when we talk about the viewership demographics of girls' media. At the end of the day, we really just have to seriously consider the fact that maybe people are watching it just because it's a good show. And in fact, we should encourage dudes to watch more girls' media, girly media, shoujo anime, and shoujo manga. Off the top of my head, I'd recommend My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, of course, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Sailor Moon Crystal, Sailor Moon the original series perhaps if you want to dive into something retro. Season 3 and onwards is better than the first 2 seasons if my memory serves me correctly. In This Corner of the World. 5 others that I'm going to dedicate a whole analysis video to about a week or 2 after Christmas. And I've also heard good things about the Fruits Basket manga, which is getting an anime adaptation remake soon. Bloom Into You, a currently airing anime. Magic Knight Rayarf, Card Captor Sakura, or anything by the manga studio Clamp for that matter, especially if you are interested in the action-adventure side of things. Kare Kano, Nana, among other good shows with strong heroines inside and outside of the shoujo label. I don't think femme fatale-style heroes can be completely counted out of the equation either, although I may make separate videos in the future discussing the pros and the cons and how each of them deals with different aspects of sexuality. There is something that can be said for the philosophy of sexual liberation in clothing fashion and such. On the manga anime side of things, there's not a whole lot of shoujo and josei material available in English, in part due to the limited demographics compared to shonen manga and anime. But the first step towards changing that is working with what we got. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for more videos. You can check the video description or the pinned comment for any references or other appropriate links related to the video as usual. You can also follow me on social media accounts shown on the screen for updates and additional content. Be sure to hit that bell button right after you subscribe and see you around.